This week's episode features special guest Steve Young. Comedy pieces and musical numbers were used with permission from the artist.
Okay.
Recording in progress.
Oh, hey, everybody. You like recordings? Yeah.
There's so much for the ninja engineer coming in there.
You were making me so nervous.
But you know what? It's better this way. Steve Young world. I've got a world with a lot of
A
different
whole
continents.
world of Steve Young.
Time now for Irritable Dad Syndrome, the podcast that's better than a state fair corn dog. Here are your hosts, Mike and Darren.
Hi, I'm Darren.
I am Mike.
Welcome to Irritable Dad Syndrome, Cincinnati's comedy podcast. This is episode 306, and oh, kids, this is a good one. I hope it's a good one. It should be a good one.
It's all the data suggests marketing analysis.
Yes, from all the reports that I've seen, this should be a good episode because, and not solely because, but one of the main reasons is we have a guest, and our guest is Steve Young. Now, Steve used to write for David Letterman. He's written for The Simpsons. He is a triple threat. He's an actor, a musician, the writer. Do you dance, Steve?
We'll get into that about 25 minutes into the podcast.
We'll see a little bit of soft shoe. So, Steve, he's a great guy. And over the past couple of years, he and I have become friends or friendly. I'd like to think that we're friends. So,
right on the border between friendly and friends. Tonight we'll see which way it
We'll
tips.
see how tonight goes. But Steve Young is our guest. Steve, welcome to Irritable Dad Syndrome.
Thank you, Darren and Mike, for having me. And just to clarify, I am not the Hall of Fame quarterback.
No.
Some people are a little sad if they, oh boy, this is going to be a great episode. Oh, who the hell is that?
Well, I was going to ask you all those questions about your Super Bowl appearance and what that was like. And
I was going to smoothly answer them in a semi-realistic fashion.
So all of our listeners that know that I'm in the podcast, I'm relatively well known within this podcast.
Yes.
I'm one of a couple of people involved in this podcast.
Yes.
And they know that if I'm involved with it, there's no way in hell anyone involved in sports is going to be on it because I have literally nothing to say. I enjoy sports, but I know nothing about them. I know as much about sports as you know about long division.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. And I suck
short
at long
division.
division. Yeah, any type of division. So, Steve, how you doing?
I'm good. I have been asked for autographs by people who thought I was the other Steve Young.
Did you give them?
One time in particular, I remember telling a guy, I will be happy to sign the autograph just for clarity's sake. You should know I'm not the football Steve Young. And you could see his face kind of go,
Oh.
Yeah.
but at that point, he had to pretend he was still interested in getting my autograph.
I would like to think that he would know you're not the other Steve Young. You two don't look alike. I mean, you wear glasses.
Yeah, I guess that is a detail which could be changed with props and so on. But
Now, do people who know you as the writer, comedian, author, musician, Steve Young, do they approach you for autographs? Do you get mobbed when you go out in public?
I had to grow the beard after the documentary came out so that people wouldn't approach me on the street so much. No. I do kind of fantasize that the other Steve Young occasionally gets a question like, I heard you were in this documentary about record collecting and you're like putting out music now. And, no, I don't know who that is. It's not me.
Yeah. That's on the list. I was going to get to that later, but let's just jump into that now. One of my favorite, not only documentaries, but motion pictures of all time was Bathtubs Over Broadway. I loved it immensely. It spawned from Dave's record collection off of Letterman. And so what I want to know is it's a two-parter. Part one.
Yeah.
Do you still collect or find albums from the industrial musicals?
It's much slower going in the past several years. All the low-hanging fruit has been collected. Once in a while, I get some very minor item that no one's ever heard of before, or occasionally I knock something off my want list that's been on my want list for over 20 years, because there are so many of these records that exist in the form of one known copy or two known copies. And so I don't expect to clear up my want list in my lifetime. I'm fine with that.
What is on the want list?
Oh, let's see. There's a Ford introduction show record with music by famous Broadway composer Cy Coleman. And most of the car show records for the introduction shows for the dealers are common because there were thousands of Ford dealers and Chevy dealers and all that. This one from the mid-'60s, they must have just pressed up a few dozen copies for the VIP executives or something, and only one has ever turned up, and I don't have it.
Yeah.
What else is there? Oh, there's a Mattel show. There's some Northwest life insurance record. Who cares? There's plenty of them out there, and I'll probably find a few more, and a few more will turn up no one's ever heard of. The short answer, well, it's too late for that, is that yes, things still do turn up. A lot of times now it's reel-to-reel tapes. Composers' families who've seen the movie or have gotten in touch with me say, oh, we still have a lot of stuff in the basement from Grandpa when he was doing this stuff in the 60s or whatever. I've inherited some troves of reel-to-reel tapes, material that was never even on a vinyl record. So that's another.
Oh, that's cool. Are there any plans to do any stuff with that? I mean, I know you take your show, the Industrial Musical Show, on the road from time to time.
Yeah, I don't know that there's ever going to be another volume of the greatest hits or any of that. I would love to have the book reprinted someday. We went through 2 printings and then we stopped. It's expensive to make that book. It's a beautiful book.
The old Letterman joke, the first one was blurred.
The first printing had one typo in it. I found where there was a comma where there should have been a period. But we fixed that for the second.
Okay. Oh, okay. So you have a collector's item then. If you have the first printing, then you need to get the second printing, and then you have the
The aftermarket price on the book can be a little pricey because it is a beautiful, large book that's out of print, and people still see the movie and want to learn more.
Yeah, I've got a copy of it at the house, and you were nice enough to autograph it for me when I saw your Industrial Musical Show in Indianapolis.
And I told you at the time. Now you understand, I'm not the football player.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Happy to sign it.
And that's how he signed it.
And his heart sank when you told
Young,
him that. And
not the football player.
Did I do? Because I legitimately could have done that at some point.
You're listening to Irritable Dad Syndrome. I tell you this in case you forgot the name of the podcast. You're welcome.
Bathtubs Over Broadway spawned from Dave's record collection, and I remember watching the episode when My Bathroom was played on Dave's record collection, and I thought this can't possibly be real.
Yeah.
But now you hosted the documentary, but you didn't direct it. So
Correct.
How much say did you have in the final input of Bathtubs Over Broadway?
A good documentary, I've come to understand, has a serious separation of church and state. The subject of the documentary, if this person is alive, which isn't always the case, but I was alive, but it's really not a legitimate documentary if the subject gets to tell the filmmakers and the editors and the directors what they want in it and what they want left out and all that. So I had no creative say in this. I did work on some original songs, and so I have my hands on that part of it. Of course, my collection and my friends and all that, I had to be willing to just put all that on the line and see what would happen. But no, I had no sense of, it would be funny if you show me doing this, or I don't want that footage in there. No, Dava Wisnant, the filmmaker, she's the director and producer and editor. I knew her already. She had worked at Letterman as an editor before she was getting into films. And I trusted her completely. She knew me. She liked me. She thought the area was so weird and interesting. I thought, I can relax. I don't seek any control over this, and I wouldn't want to because it would be way better, whatever she'll do, because she knows how to make movies, and I don't.
So you were happy with the final outcome, or was there anything that you would have done differently?
Well, there was always new discoveries that came after the movie was done that we kind of went, if only we'd found that film clip earlier or that record. But it didn't really matter to the arc of the story and the power of the story with all the people in it who became the heart of it. That was completely locked in. Yeah, there's very little that you could imagine. Oh, I wish that was different or better. No, it's really amazing how well.
Yeah. Well, I strongly recommend anybody who's out there, go on your Roku device, your streamer, look it up and check it out. It's so entertaining. It's absolutely so entertaining. I watched it with Libby. She says hi, by the way. I tried describing the documentary to her because I drove all the way up to Columbus to see it from here. And she's like, "You're driving up to Columbus to see a movie?" I said, "Not a movie, a documentary about..." Never mind. Anyway, but
have you explained to your viewers what this is? I don't know if we have.
Yeah. Go ahead. You
Right.
explain what it's about.
They're completely enthralled by this abstract thing. They have no idea what we're talking about. When I was working as a writer at the Letterman show, collecting raw material for the Dave's record collection bit, I would occasionally find souvenir record albums of company conventions and sales meetings where they had commissioned a musical that the public could not go to, probably wouldn't have wanted to go to, but a musical for the sales force and distributors and managers and people like that. In-house corporate propaganda, infotainment, Broadway-style musicals about the triumphs and tragedies of selling kids sneakers or being a diesel engine salesman or a Pepsi-Cola bottler or selling GE appliances or whatever. And I started finding more and more of these things. They were all private pressings, not to be sold in stores, not for radio airplay. Very, very rare because they were only given out to people within the company. But some of them, to my untutored ears, seemed utterly fantastic. Off the charts crazy conceptually, like comedically, I was just enthralled. This is way over the top. This shouldn't even be happening. There shouldn't be a musical about selling and servicing diesel engines. But there is, and I can't get it out of my head. The songs have gripped me, and the insurance and the tractors and all of it was, okay, not all of it. Some of it was terrible. But the stuff that was good turned out, as we go along in the movie, in my adventure, I find out some of these things were written by Broadway royalty, or at least future Broadway royalty, and the cast were full of brilliant people who were often on their way up and would someday become household names. So it was this black matter of the universe, of the entertainment world, that no one had ever fully seen the picture of before. There were a few other record collectors who had some of them, but I was the first person who ever started tracking down the people who wrote these things and performed in them. And that act of doing that eventually changed my life, because I met people who became absolutely central to my life, and new family members and things like that.
And if the only one you had come across was The Bathrooms Are Coming, I mean, come on.
My bathroom is a private kind of place.
That's just worth its weight in
That is the
gold.
800-pound gorilla, I call it. Like that song, My Bathroom, that's the gateway drug. That was not the very first one I found, but that was already kind of legendary in the weird music circles of the 90s, and people were swapping cassette tapes and things like that. But I had found a few others before I got wind of that. But yeah, that one, the movie is titled Bathtubs Over Broadway in a reference to how central that American standard bathroom fixture musical is to this genre, but also my saga with it of going down the rabbit hole and meeting people who thought, yes, we know it was good work 47 years ago, but the world doesn't care and it's forgotten. And then I show up and say, not quite. We're going to have a talk about this because it is brilliant and bizarre and evocative. It's an America that we can feel good about, when the future was going to be getting better and better, and companies actually seemed to care about their employees and team members and cultivated this pride in them. And so it turns into way more than just kitsch, because it's these big questions about how do we think about what is art even? Can something be art if it was commissioned by a toilet company? Can we get past our own cynicism and knee-jerk reflexes we've been trained to do for decades of saying, oh, the gatekeepers told us this is cool over here, but this stuff over here is junk, and we must despise the junk. And said, I don't know if it is junk though. Let's think about this.
Yeah, I don't think it's junk at all. I think it's brilliant, and I loved everything about it. It's amazing, and I applaud you for finding it and for putting it together, for believing in it, because I don't know if anybody else would have thought, I think there's a documentary in this, but I mean,
I don't know if I would have ever taken that step myself, but some other film people were starting to ask me after the book came out, oh, would you be interested in partnering on a documentary? This looks like a good area. And I didn't know how to think about that. And I said to Deva, who by now lived in Los Angeles, can you look at these people's websites and see what their samples, whether you have a good feeling about them? And she said, I'm not sure about those particular people, but if there's going to be a documentary about this, I think I would like to do it. And I said, oh, well, yes. I had no idea that would even be possible, but
yeah,
you're in.
Steve, when I describe you to people, I know there's not a level of unique. You know, you can't say something is more unique than somebody else, right? Yeah. I give you the exception. Your comedic mind, I don't know how you look at things and you find humor in almost every direction you look, and I just applaud you. How many Instagram, or I'm sorry, I've been calling it Instagram.
He enjoys doing that a lot.
I do that to get the kids, to bother my kids. Yeah. And now I always call it Instagram. How many Instagram pages do you have? Because you've got the one with the truck, the AI vehicles, and you got the AI one where you piece together
and I've got one I haven't done anything on for a while, which is the cut and paste movies, which is where I cut up pages of little capsule summaries of movies from old TV guides. If I carefully cut them up and reassemble them so grammatically they make sense, but they describe movies that never existed and probably never should exist.
Never should exist. Yeah.
Shouldn't exist.
I love that project. I've been doing that on and off for over 30 years. I think I was starting to do it in the late 80s, actually, but it's such a hard project because you get these little tiny slips of paper and you have thousands of them spread out, and you're trying to, oh, this one would work with that. Oh, I got 2 good lines of this, and now I need to find the perfect ending, and then you got to get a headache, and I don't want to look at tiny slips of paper anymore.
But once you start reading them, you can't put them down. I mean, I remember when you had made your Instagram page about it, I couldn't sleep one night, and I scrolled through 20, 30. I don't know. They're just ridiculously entertaining and ridiculous in their own right. So
I've had a few fans who've asked me, when are you going to do more of those? And I say, I got to get back to it. If a critical mass of people, and perhaps you now count as a critical mass,
yes,
I will make a solemn vow on the altar of freedom that I'll do some more cut and paste movies.
I mean, we count as a mass.
That's a critical mass.
Mike, if you want to get in on this, you definitely tip the balance in a critical mass.
So, thank you. I will say something. I have to address the fact that Darren in mixed company has said Instantgram.
Yes.
So it may not seem like it, but there are times when we actually engineer something that we think is funny, and we'll make a video or something like that. We'll throw it out there into the void, and nothing happens. And then other times where things just go off the rails are usually when this dude mispronounces. So we've gained notoriety in the Rush fan groups because he will not stop pronouncing Alex Lifeson's name as Alex Lifeson. And he does it. He does it because he thinks it's funny, and it is funny.
It's hilarious.
But there are some people out there, I'm just going to say their priorities are a little...
They don't think it's funny at all.
They get adamant, and they're just, what is wrong with you, and calling us idiots, which, I mean, yes, we're idiots. That's our whole, that's our jam.
Yeah.
So
this was a very Letterman-esque thing to do for years. He purposely called Hal Gurney by a string of incorrect.
Hal Gertner.
Our director, Hal Grunman.
I gained some particular joy when he can't turn it off. And I know he really didn't mean to do that.
Instantgram is now hardwired. Okay.
Yeah.
I sympathize with that. I probably have an example where I can't even remember the real name of something anymore. Like decades ago, I saw a hand-lettered sign at a thrift shop that said Thrift Shop. And from then on, my family and I, for years and years, just said, oh, we got to take this stuff to the thrift shop.
To the thrift
Just
shop.
like first, ironically, and then we forgot that it was wrong, and it was just what we called a thrift shop.
This portion of Irritable Dad Syndrome is brought to you by Uncle Chappie's Soothing Miracle Lip Balm. Hi, I'm Dave Lay. The cure for dry, chapped lips is just a click away when you order a tube of Uncle Chappie's. It's available without a prescription, and it comes in 5 great flavors: Passion Peach, Tango Mango, Dark Chocolate, Spicy Jalapeno, and my favorite, Old Timey Root Beer. Say goodbye to dry, chapped lips today. Uncle Chappie's Soothing Miracle Lip Balm. Available wherever fine lip products are sold. Now, back to the show.
Now, we're Irritable Dad Syndrome, and I think our kids sometimes think we're funny. You have kids. Do they think you're funny, or do like Dad's off doing weird things again?
Well, it varied in age-appropriate ways, I think. I was extremely entertaining to toddlers and young children because I was happy to get down on the floor and play with stuff and make weird voices and weird faces.
Yeah.
And then later, when they're like adolescents, it's, oh, God, Dad, can you stop being weird? I definitely got a lot of that. Like, don't say those crazy things when my friends are around. It's creepy. It's weird. And then later, the worst of that burns off, and they understand that, okay, he's got something going on. And sometimes I remember some family trip to Washington, and I think we went to the Spy Museum, and I was riffing on like Russian spy voices or something, and we were, Daddy, stop! Our faces hurt from laughing so much. So you like to hear that once in a while. And then when Bathtubs Over Broadway came out, I think that was a powerful thing. Most children don't get to watch a movie that reveals a side of their parents that they wouldn't really know as a child. And I think that made a big impression on them.
Yeah.
Okay, Daddy's weird record collection, that's been in the background all our lives. Apparently it means something and has become an important, well, I don't know if it's important, but it's a thing anyway, and it has affected a lot of people's lives.
Well, when my kids were little, I used to act like I was playing the tuba. I'd walk around the house and and Anchors Away.
Good.
Thank you.
Yeah,
but Anchors Away was the only song I ever played.
Right.
And that was funny for,
you
I
could
don't
have
know,
bought,
a year, 2 years. And then it's like, Dad, stop acting like you're playing the tuba.
or at least get some more pretend sheet music and learn a new song.
Well, that's the thing. I don't read music, though. So
You don't need to do a pretend sheet music.
That's there you go.
It's a pretend tuba, so you just have pretend sheet music. Now,
Any song you want is available.
That's right. Maybe I'll do an album of fake tuba music.
Yeah.
Hey.
Hey.
I think I got an idea there.
The Rush crowd will like that.
Oh, yeah,
That's
they
right.
will.
Alex Lifeson might produce it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Or you have to call it the tuba.
the tuba. So you're a musician and I know you play guitar and you play bass, and you're pretty good. I'm going to just go on a limb here and say you're really good. Were you in a band, or when did you learn to play?
I don't know if it's a full-on midlife crisis situation, but in the early 2000s, I decided I was going to get more serious about guitar. I had a guitar since high school and could play a few chords, but wasn't really up on any technique or anything. But I got a nicer guitar and started learning a few things. I found a teacher in Manhattan who got me started on finger picking, and it turned out, and I really didn't see this coming, but I had an affinity for it, a facility for it. After a while, I realized I will never be bored again, because even if I'm only mediocre and slowly getting better, it's fun to be mediocre with this thing. I love this guitar. And after a while, the teacher said, you're getting too good for me. I'm going to pass you off to a higher level teacher, but I still want to work with you and do some piano so you can understand music theory better. So I got a little whiff of that. But yeah, I took lessons for a number of years and have slowly continued to get better, I think, and just I'm good enough to be able to do my own songs pretty much the way I want.
Dance, Wookie Underpants. Hey, dance.
You're probably thinking, well, that's 10 seconds of my life I'll never get back.
But now, thanks to a new federal government program, you can get back the time that you waste on content like that. Just go to timeback.gov, fill out the claim form noting what content you watched and how much time you wasted, and in 6 to 8 weeks, you'll get that amount of time credited back to your life. It's a terrific program, and I urge you to take advantage of it.
Dance.
Speaking of your own song, for the first time ever on Irritable Dad Syndrome, after the interview, we are going to world premiere, have an exclusive Steve Young song that's never been heard by the masses. And I am so excited about this. You'd think I'm like a kid at Christmas, like, we have an exclusive Steve Young song. So after the interview, kids stick around, because that's when you're going to hear Why Are Hot Dogs Wet by Steve Young, the exclusive. And this is like, we need to have that MTV, the MTV exclusive. This is an Irritable Dad Syndrome exclusive coming up at the end of this episode.
Man, that'll make it legit.
Oh, that'll make it all worthwhile.
It's just a fun little thing. It's no Lificin, for God's sake.
Oh, yeah.
No,
I mean,
and you know what would make that song even better?
Yeah.
The tuba.
Yeah, well, if you want to along with it.
Yeah, I might, in post, I might mix some of my tuba playing in and just desecrate your song.
Okay, well, that's disheartening.
If you follow Steve Young on any of his social medias, you post just fun little videos. And one of the things you and I have in common is we both own an Ask Me About the Moose button. Yes, we've got the same button. You had posted that, and here I am at the house, and I said, and I quote, "I've got one." And,
Wow.
And
that
Libby's like,
was a big day when we realized.
Libby's like, "Honey, is everything okay?" I said, yeah, we've got the same. And so I put this on my jacket, right? Mm-hmm. And because I was going to wear it and show it to you, because I figured we could talk 20, 30 minutes easy about the Moose Lodge. So I had this button on my jacket, and yesterday Libby was going to go for a walk, and it was chilly, so she puts it on, and she's walking around, and I'm like, oh, God, please, somebody ask Libby about the moose.
That would be very satisfying. Did that happen, or did she
It did not happen, no. Okay. No, she did run into two people on her walk, but nobody asked her about the moose. Oh. Because she could either say, one, I don't know why my husband has this on his jacket, or two, just please leave me alone because now I'm uncomfortable. But yeah.
I bought this off eBay, finding it sufficiently random for my purposes of my music video, but you're sure it's about the Moose Lodge?
It's about the Moose Lodge, yes. Yeah, my grandfather was kind of like Howard Cunningham was with the Grand Poobah of the Leopard Lodge on Happy Days. So Grandpa Bill was in the Moose. And when you turn 21 years old, you can join the Loyal Order of Moose Lodge. Yeah. And I did not. I mean, but Bill did. And anyway, but we have that in common. I think it's hilarious.
Well, you've unlocked the mystery of the moose. I'm going to try a few more out on you. See if you go, oh, yeah, I know exactly what that is.
Okay. Ask me about the gentle alternative. No, I don't have a clue what the gentle alternative is.
Because I think I would be very grateful for a gentle alternative to just about anything.
Anything, yeah. Name it. Steve Young is our guest, and you've mentioned a couple times the let's talk about Letterman. You worked for Letterman, what, 25 years? How long?
I guess it was 25, yes.
Okay. During the time you worked for Letterman, did it ever feel like just a normal job, or was it a big deal? Was it somewhere in between?
I don't know if it ever felt like a normal job, because every day you're starting from scratch, and every day might be your best, funniest idea ever. Or it might be the day you fall flattest on your face ever. And so there was always that just rolling of the dice every day. But after years and decades, it was the day job, and I could do it. And the individual days, highs and lows, were attention getting. But in the big picture, I thought, yes, apparently I'm pretty well settled into this job. And that's when I started to do more outside projects like the record collecting that eventually became the book and then the documentary and the Celebrigum project, which I'm sure you've heard of.
I love that. It's on the list. Tell me about
good.
Celebrigum. This is awesome.
The website is still up. I pay a small amount to keep the domain alive, celebrigum.com.
Money well spent.
I hope so. I don't know if the accountant agrees, but the genesis of it was I was running the monologue at the show for many years. And every afternoon in the last hour or so before the taping started, I had to be up near the dressing room in case Dave went through the cue cards and said, I think we need something else here. Or do we have any other jokes about Paris Hilton or whatever? And I would run in with my sheets of paper and pitch him more jokes. So I had to be on call for that. So I would stand out in this hallway by a certain window, and I noticed at one point on the outside window ledge, someone long ago apparently had stuck a piece of used chewing gum, and it had stayed there and it had become hardened and blackened over time. And I thought, that's an interesting, odd, semi-poignant artifact. Through the seasons and years, it's inscrutably just there while life passes us by. And I thought, take some pictures in different weather and light and all that. And that was only going to be mildly interesting. And then one day the real idea came, which was on the street below, every time the gum is in the foreground, down in the background, SUVs and limos are pulling up, and out is getting Julia Roberts or George Clooney or all the movers and shakers who were coming to be our celebrity guests on the show. And I thought, that's what I need to do. Every day it's new day, new celebrity, same gum. And it's paparazzi and flashbulbs and security people and mayhem. Or if it's not someone as exciting, or if it's pouring rain, it's like somebody getting out of a car and dashing to the door and there's only one person there waving or hoping for an autograph. It's a weird slice of life. Once in a while, I would get a visually interesting, fun picture. I started the Celebrigum website, but then thinking correctly, probably Dave Letterman has not heard about this. I will make him a photo album for his birthday. I put together a few of the most interesting, weird, evocative shots from the first year or so. I'd been going for a while. And I gave him this as a birthday present, and he said, "This is remarkable." I mean, I don't know if he said this then or later, but it was like something I completely agreed with, which was, this is trivial and stupid, yet by repetition, it achieves some sort of gravitas or grandeur. Because the celebrities come and go, but it's always the gum. You could even stretch and say, it's a metaphor about how we chew up and spit out celebrities and discard them.
Yeah.
Good. And he said, we have to have an art gallery show of these photos. And I said, no, come on. And he said, no, we're going to do this. And this was one of the ways in which his appreciation of weird things done for the wrong reasons and his loyalty really were remarkable. He paid out of his own pocket to have about 50 something of my photos professionally printed and enlarged and framed and arranged for an art gallery to let us have the space for a night. And we had our late show holiday party there one year with all these pictures on the wall with little plaques explaining who was in the picture and what date it was shot. And somehow the New York Times got wind of it and said, we might be interested in sending someone to report on this, but probably really only if Mr. Letterman would agree to speak to the reporter. And everyone thought, there's your deal killer, because Dave Letterman won't be interested in that. And Dave said, sure, I'd be happy to.
Yeah.
So suddenly it was in the New York Times. It was giddy. It was a fever dream of this shouldn't really be happening.
Yeah.
And eventually when I got tired of it, after a couple of years, there was a point of diminishing returns. I asked Dave, would you help me kill it off? And we shot a video up at the window where I gave him a putty knife. And he said, I would like you to do the honors, Dave. I'm happy to, a big supporter of Celebrigum. And chipped away at it, and the gum fell off and fell to the ground. And I went down to the sidewalk thinking, oh, I'd like to retrieve that gum, just a little souvenir for myself. And I was down on the sidewalk, crouched down looking. Paul McCartney walked about.
Oh, no.
He had been at the show that night because his son was on the show as a guest. And they held him at the door and said, Sir Paul, could you please just wait a minute? Something might fall out a window, and we don't want it to land on you. So he waited until he was given the all clear and walked past. And there's Paul McCartney. And then, I found the gum. So, perfect day.
Look what I found.
So, Paul, look. Hey, never mind. Okay.
They've taken hundreds of pictures of this. Do you want to touch my gum? Yeah.
And I eventually found out who put it out there. There's somebody on the staff who was reticent about it at first, but then as the phenomenon grew, they admitted that they had put it out there.
It was Mulligan, wasn't it?
No.
Oh, okay.
Always a good guess, but no.
Always guess Gerard Mulligan. He was, besides you, he's the only writer who has appeared on Irritable Dad Syndrome. He read a top 10 list for a friend of mine who was getting ready to go under a hospital treatment, and he was kind enough to write a top 10 signs you're at a bad hospital.
Oh, that's good.
He knocked it out in, I don't know, in brilliant form. It was hilarious. So.
Oh,
but now, when you wrote for Letterman, how was it structured? Was there a group, did everybody contribute to the top 10 list? Did everybody contribute to the monologue? Who wrote the From New York? And then the little thing that Alan Coulter would say.
We called those From New Yorks and Man Who's. And everybody, all the writers would occasionally be asked to write a page of those. After 9/11, it was always From New York, the greatest city in the world. So that took a lot of pressure off us. So
yes.
But I was good at those. I don't know if by the end I was the only one doing the Man Who's. I was writing the little teasers going into the Act 1 commercial and the Act 5, where it'd be an audience shot, and Alan Coulter would say, join us tomorrow, and Dave's guests are blah, blah, and he'd always have some weird line like, if you think about it, all tattoos are temporary tattoos.
Well, that, I stole that, and I do that at the beginning of every Irritable Dad Syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
So, sue me. But now, when you were writing, how many jokes would a writer contribute a day, and then how many made the cut?
Oh, well, back to your other question, which I barely answered. Every day in the later years, we'd all come in the morning and have a pitch meeting about, here are some things in the news. We could do a fake commercial about this. We could have a live interrupt about that. We could have this, just different ideas for things to put in the show. But yes, every day there would be the top 10 topic. People would pitch topics, and then the head writers would get one approved from Dave, and everybody would try to write some. If you were not in a heavy production schedule with extras, as we call them, you might get to write a lot of top 10s. Some days you might be, I'm running to the edit room. I have time to write 3 top 10s down, and that's better than nothing. Mm-hmm. There were people who specialized in the monologue. There were a couple of writers out in California who emailed in every day. Dave kind of relied on them as his favorite veteran guys. They had worked for Johnny Carson, so he liked that connection.
Okay.
And I had a stable of other freelancers, and we had a couple staff members who were mostly monologue. A lot of the writing staff had nothing to do with the monologue.
And then can you think of any jokes that you wrote that you thought were particularly funny that weren't used?
Oh, well, there's just a flood of jokes for things like top 10s. You might have a couple hundred altogether from the staff coming in, and only 10 are going to get picked. And that's a bit of a cat and mouse game where the head writer would show Dave a blue card with, here's what we think is the top 10 list, and he might cut 3, and then the head writer would put in 3 more and show it to Dave, and then he might cut 6. And this would go back and forth for a while, but we considered those just very disposable. You could write 20, and then, okay, I'll write another 20. Okay, sure, I'll write another 20. I don't care. Well, we might care, but you could do a lot of that. And I don't know if I have any jokes like that I particularly remember, but certainly also a high attrition rate on ideas for larger pieces. Like the extras and the act 2s or act 5s or whatever they were at different parts of the show's history, the more involved production. I remember, I think I had this idea at NBC and it almost got on. And then I tried it again years later at CBS and it almost got on. It was, we have a wonderful new character on the show. It's a charming fellow named Uncle Pockets. Uncle Pockets, welcome. Well, what's your deal, Uncle Pockets? Well, I'm going to have, every time I come on, I'll have wonderful, amazing things in my pockets to show out, to show people. Oh, okay, Uncle Pockets, that sounds very fun. What do you have for us tonight, Uncle Pockets? Well, today was my first day. I didn't prepare anything today. I thought I'd, mainly be going through the HR and the onboarding. I don't really have any. Here's a receipt from CVS. I don't know if that's anything. Uncle Pockets. All right, we've had enough. Get out. So.
Uncle Pockets. I love it. I think that would have been a hit.
Uncle Pockets finally gets some juice.
Yeah. That would have been a hit. Did you ever pitch something to a guest and were you ever like, oh my God, I can't believe he or she was game for this bit?
I usually wasn't interacting directly with the guests who wanted something funny to do. And there were only a relatively small handful of people like Bill Murray, Steve Martin, Bruce Willis, maybe a couple others who wanted some bonus chunk of comedy that we would work on. Most of those people were pretty game. I mean, when you think about, Bruce Willis doing his action hero entrance from Broadway or whatever it was. While I don't remember all the details.
Yeah, the only time I was on the show, it was January of '96, and they were going to shoot a bit with Elle Macpherson, and they put her in the front row, and they sat her right next to me. I've got this long mullet, and my face is blood red from being out in the Arctic wind-burn, freezing temperatures. And Dave is up on the set, and they recorded. He goes, Siskel and Ebert are here. Neil Diamond is here. What's that, Paul? What? Elle Macpherson's here? Oh, hi, Elle. And she kisses this chocolate and throws it, and then he catches it in his mouth. And the camera zooms out and to include me in the 2 shot, and she's like, "Happy Valentine's Day, baby." And I said, "Ooh." The next day, everybody lost their mind. Everybody at my TV station in Johnson City, Tennessee, were losing their mind. Darren was on the David Letterman show last night. Still one of the coolest things that's ever happened to me, Yeah.
That reminds me of a story. You may remember there was a few pieces where fake audience members would ask Dave questions. There was like, who asked for it, or I don't know what else, but staff members would play regular people standing up in the audience to ask Dave something, and he would have a prepared, funny response or bit to show or whatever. A couple of times I got to be one of these people, and we learned from bad things that happened to other people. You better have a cover story about who you are, where you're from, what your career is, be able to talk convincingly about it, because he's going to enjoy picking at you to see where the seams are. And I remember Tom Ruprecht once claimed he was a bartender, and Dave said, how do you make a stinger or whatever? And I decided because my brother worked at this company, Crown. They make forklifts and pallet jacks and things like that. And I guess this was the internet age, so I went on the Crown site and learned a few things about the product line in case I was asked. And I had a whole name and where I was from and my region in New England and all that. And so Dave chatted with me amiably about forklifts and pallet jacks and all that. And he did very well. It went fine. But then that night when the show aired, everybody in this company in New England was, "Did you see what was on? Who the hell is that guy on Letterman? I don't know him. Do you know him? No, he says he's from the Lowell region. No one knows. No, nobody by that name works for the company." Finally got back to my brother, and he looked at it and said, "Oh, I know what that is. Yeah, that's my brother. He's pretending." So the mystery was solved, but I got some Crown forklift T-shirts and
nice.
bits of merch. Yes, that was fun. I did a good enough job that people in the company believed I was legitimate.
But no, you're like, where are you from? Topeka, Kansas. Oh, what part of the state is that from? Oh, it's north of wherever. He would. Yeah, I didn't know he would intentionally, because for the longest time I thought they were actually people. I mean, well, they're people. I thought they were actually people who lived there.
Some of the pieces, like when he'd go in the audience to play Know Your Current Events and Know Your Cuts of Meat, those were legitimate audience members.
Okay.
But there were these other kinds of pieces where there was a prepared bit like that we had to have a setup for, and those were us. Those were the fake audience people.
Know Your Cuts of Meat. Variety meats, David. Do you keep in touch with a lot of the people on the show?
In various degrees. It occurred to me recently that I'm friends with people, but we don't see each other necessarily that often. I think sometime last fall, I think we had like 4 or 5 writers together for dinner. But it does feel like it's 1957 and we're all Army buddies from World War II who've gone back to civilian life and gone off in different directions. A lot of people are not really working in the TV business anymore, and partly that's maybe some of us are aging out of it, but it also is the TV business for writers like us has contracted so much.
You're listening to Irritable Dad Syndrome. We put the drome in syndrome.
That's right.
So a couple of years ago, Mike, I was telling you that I was in Indianapolis and I I saw Steve's show, the industrial musical show. Afterwards, my buddy Don and we went and had dinner with Steve. And Steve, you told me, and I'm hoping that you can remember this story and you'll tell it again, when Dave was doing the...
yeah, I think it was, the specific may have been a turkey. But yes, back in the day, I think especially in the NBC era, during rehearsals down on the stage in the afternoon, if there was going to be something that involved Dave making a phone call on the show, we had to test the phone. I don't know if it was really a worry every time that it may or may not work, but we'd test the phone. And this was an opportunity for Dave to be his most wild improvisational self. He would, I hope somewhere recordings have been saved. I heard that Hal Gurney was saving an archive of these phone calls. But he would call like the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and just pretend to be some random guy asking if he could enter the Indy 500.
Like the day before.
Yeah. No, sir, no. I mean, this is a very high-level professional race. You can't just enter. Oh, okay. Well, what about the rental car division? Can I enter in the rental car? So he would just keep people on the line with these bizarre calls. But one time he called, I have no idea who he called, but he took the persona of he was a turkey farmer in some rural area, and he wanted to talk to someone about the fact that he had a 2-headed turkey. And he was very concerned about it and interested about it. And he said, well, I don't know. People have said maybe, is your farm too near power lines? Could that have been something to do with it? Well, I thought about that. But you know what I thought of in the end? You know what I came to realize? It's just one of those things. So this was, in a way, him at his purest and finest. Just flights of fancy and stringing people along. And I remember from raw footage of a remote that I was on in New Jersey, where he was in this neighborhood walking around, knocking on doors and asking people, what would you like to see more of on television? And he had a whole clipboard full of specific questions, and he would just talk with people, and we'd make a funny thing out of it. But a bit of raw footage that did not make it in any form into the show. I still remember it so clearly decades later. There was some older gentleman who was in a car, and the guy had pulled over to talk to Dave, and Dave was going on a riff about the show The Waltons. He said, you remember the Waltons, a very popular show? Oh, yeah, I guess I do. Oh, yeah, tremendous show, fantastic. It was about this family during the Depression, and they're desperately poor. So the premise of the show is that every week, they had to somehow find enough furniture to burn for heat. And the guy in the car is just going, oh, yeah, okay, yeah. I just thought, that's great. And I said to Dave, it didn't make it into the show. No one else will ever notice this or care about it. I love that. Oh, thanks, Steve.
Oh, yeah. Well, they used to throw the phone books in, and then they would call people at random. and
yeah,
talk to them. And then
phone call.
was it that old guy? He had no idea who Letterman was, and after like 5 minutes, were you on the Johnny Carson show last night? Yes, that was me.
Great moments, like when he was doing the drive-through remotes. He was at Taco Bell or McDonald's, and some lady said, "Are you Howard Stern?"
Well, now we're having fun, aren't we?
So I don't know if you've heard, but CBS, they're canceling The Late Show with Stephen Colbert.
I had heard something about that. They're in their final weeks, which is weird because they're the new guys and they're about to be the extinct dinosaur. Very, very strange and sad.
I think it's sad. I hate seeing it go.
Yeah.
Yeah, throwing away an entire franchise like that seems... I understand the economics of TV are not what they once were.
Right.
But just so precipitously saying we don't need anything like this anymore.
Yeah.
Seems like a bad idea. And, well, we had, 33 years in that theater. It's not terrible. It certainly was not a waste of money to get the theater, but what are they going to do with it now? I don't know. That was what I wanted to know. What are they going to do with the theater? Yeah, maybe we could do Irritable Dad Syndrome in the theater.
Well, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, with the money we make off of that's not a good idea.
We're a stupid, idiotic thing that, when repeated enough, we become a.
That's right.
We become a whole new
and
animal.
Gravitas, and yes.
Before we wrap up, Steve, who are some of your early comedy influences? Who made you decide to be who you are today?
Well, it's an interesting whole area. Stephen Weiner, and I was talking to him last year, and he is a Letterman writer who was there very early in the show's history. We didn't overlap, but he is a scholar of film and television and comedy history in a way that I am not. And he said to me, I've seen occasionally this disparity, the comedy people who are steeped in the history and know backwards and forwards the greats and all their great bits. And then there are a few people like you who really did not grow up being a comedy nerd at all. And it's not like I never watched TV. I watched a few sitcoms. I had some books that I enjoyed, like there was a Woody Allen set of books of his different short stories and short plays and things like that I would read and enjoy and think, how did he do that? How did he set up this joke and then bang, pay it off or pull the rug out from under us? And I looked at that and thought, I like that. I wish I could do that. But I was not somebody who was buying comedy albums or dreaming of a life in comedy or any of that. It seems to be the exception, because most people know early on, I want to be a stand-up or I want to write for SNL or whatever. Eventually in college, I came to understand this was a possible career path, at least theoretically. And I thought, I'll try that. Sure. Let's see if I could get onto one of these shows. And amazingly, it worked out. But I think I had watched the show far less than anyone they'd ever talked to. And other writers who tried to get on the show and didn't quite make it, knew the show backwards and forwards, and I didn't really. In my first few weeks at the show, I had to ask a lot of questions about what they were talking about. Like there'd be a meeting, maybe Calvert can do this, maybe Calvert can do that. And I finally said, excuse me, who is Calvert? And in my defense, on TV, he was known as Larry Bud Melman then.
Right.
So I think it's sort of reasonable that I wouldn't know, but hardcore fans knew exactly who Calvert was.
Well, I think that's probably your gift. I mean, that's like I said earlier in the show, you are very unique. You have, I think you have a brilliant comedy mind. I think you're hilarious. And I also think you're a very cool guy. And I really appreciate you coming on the show. Yeah. This has been a lot of fun.
Thank you.
Yeah, this has been great.
Well, my pleasure. And thank you for the time.
Yeah, if people want to see more Steve Young, how do they do that? What's your website? What's your Instagram?
Instant Gramophone is...
Thank you for taking it another step into the absurdity level. That beyond now, that's all he's going to be saying. That's what it was
called in the 19 teens. You get the instantaneous gramophone. Pants Steve, a relic of my very early email address related to Dave Letterman's Worldwide Pants Company. Pants Steve, Steve Young World on YouTube. A lot of the same stuff on there. SteveYoungWorld.com. I couldn't get SteveYoung.com. That other guy must have got it.
Bastard.
But you know what? It's better this way. Steve Young World. I've got a world with a lot of
A
different
whole
continents
world
on
of
it.
Steve Young.
That's right.
Well, again, thank you for being on our show, and thank you for all the laughter that you've given me all these years, and thank you for your friendship. I really appreciate it. We want you guys to go to irritabledadsyndrome.com, and if you want to buy some merch, if you want to become a patron, you can do that. And after the show, don't forget the world premiere, the exclusive Why Are Hot Dogs Wet? All right, guys, we hope to see you next week on Irritable Dad Syndrome.
Did you ever open a package of hot dogs and that weird, greasy hot dog water is dribbling out? And you wonder, what's up with that? Why are hot dogs wet? Why are hot dogs wet? Maybe someone told me, but I forget. So why are hot dogs wet? Why can't they be dry? Did some hot dog guy decree from on high? Hot dogs just gotta be wet, don't ask why. Well, I'm still gonna try to find out why are hot dogs wet. Still no answer yet. Hey, I bet our friend the internet would know. Why are hot dogs wet? Why are hot dogs wet? I'll just type it into the search box here and we'll see what we get. Oh, it's returning a lot of results. Look at all this. Why are hot dogs wet? Articles, documents, press releases. Why are hot dogs wet? There's a wealth of information here. Let me start getting into it, see what I can learn. Why are hot dogs wet? Huh, interesting. I hadn't considered that. Oh, and here's a good point as well. Yeah, makes sense. Why are hot dogs wet? I've got to hand it to the processed meat industry. They've put some careful thought into this. Why are hot dogs wet? And you know, come to think of it, I bet a lot of this would also apply to kielbasa. Why are hot dogs wet? All right, well, I feel like I've gotten a good basic overview of the facts. I think my curiosity is satisfied for now, though I will need to do more research at some point. Go back and check the primary sources that are cited in all these articles and documents I was skimming. Why are hot dogs wet? Because, as we know, unfortunately you can't automatically trust information you get from the internet. Anything you read or watch might be a distortion, a mistake, a half-truth, deliberate misinformation or disinformation put out to advance a sinister agenda. And I'm not saying that what I was just reading about hot dogs was necessarily wrong. I'm just saying you have to do your due diligence. Because bad information gets repeated and amplified, often by well-meaning but gullible people. Why are hot dogs wet? And now we've got AI scraping the web and regurgitating quote-unquote information with no capacity to judge whether or not it's valid. AI picks up lies and distortions and uncritically presents them as facts. It even adds more distortions and hallucinations. It's a mess, and it's getting worse. Why are hot dogs wet? You can't even trust what looks like a legitimate video, because now the deep fakes are so convincing and so widespread that you have to be skeptical of anything you watch. Why are hot dogs wet? I'd think that hot dogs would be fairly low on the list of things that criminals and fascists would want to lie about, but who knows? That may just be my own naivete talking. Why are hot dogs wet? And if you think, well then, I'll only trust what I see with my own eyes and hear with my own ears, okay, but we're at a point now technologically where you have to wonder, what if everything we perceive out in the world has been manipulated through cyber trickery that's somehow transmitted directly into our brains? If we're able to form that question, I don't think we can rule out the possibility that everything we think we perceive is an illusion. Why are hot dogs wet? Meanwhile, not only does the social fabric weaken, as we've already seen, but individually we're in danger of losing the core of our humanity. If we're not confident we exist in a tangible, objective world with reliable sensory input and facts, we can't believe in ourselves as coherent, rational beings. Why are hot dogs wet? Yes, it's deeply worrisome, but humans have always been grappling with versions of these questions. For thousands of years, philosophers have pondered, can we trust any so-called knowledge? Does the universe truly correspond to the information we get from our senses? How do we know that we know what we know? Even on a topic like, why are hot dogs wet? So what can we do? I don't know if there's anything ordinary people can do except just keep going with caution and skepticism, but also hope and kindness. Maybe eat a hot dog once in a while if you like hot dogs. Keep pushing on. And I don't know if it's heroism, but I think most people, most of the time, do want to persist, even if we don't really understand what we're up against. Because of love, maybe also stubbornness or habit, even curiosity, which once again gets us back to, why are hot dogs? Uh-oh. I was on the G chord so long that my hand cramped up and I couldn't make the D chord. TMI, I guess, right? Though if you're not even sure that's authentic information, how can you judge what's too much? Okay, you know what? I think we've had enough of this. Let's finish it up and get on with our confused lives. Why are hot dogs wet?
Irritable Dad Syndrome is a Mike Odell, Darren Cox production.
Recording stopped.